How are you guys doing today? Yeah, good evening. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. So how are you guys doing now? How were you guys able to run the EKS cluster? What's the update on it? For those that have questions, you can basically ask your questions now before we basically go into the whole the remaining part of the Capstone project.
Yeah, hello, good evening, sir. Boss, evening, everyone.
Yeah, good evening.
I just have an observation. I don't know. I saw that I think in the EKS cluster, I believe there are I think there is a file, or should I say, some files that are commented out. I think like EKS node group private or something. .pf. I think it's commented out everything. So that means we can basically delete that.
Well, if you want to, yeah, sure, definitely you can.
Okay.
Yeah, because they are not going to be needed. But from a professional point of view, when you are basically creating like something like this, it will be let's say it would be nice to actually have like a private instance and every other thing. But the reason why we're not basically creating that is because it is not part of the capstone project. Number one, number two, it will basically cost more bill on AWS. But you can just leave it there for your what's it called? Um, when you push it to GitHub and you write your documentation on GitHub, other people that basically see it understand that okay, or someone that might want to use it in the future can still make use of your code.
Yeah. All right. No problem.
Good evening, mentor.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Forever.
Yes, well done, sir.
Yeah, well done.
The the issue that I had, it was in the Node group.
Okay,
So I don't know if you can open your Node group so I can show you where my issue is, what I want to change, so I'll be able to
okay.
explain better.
So can you see my screen?
So yes,
Okay,
that part where you have remote underscore access, line 13.
okay, yeah.
Yes, the EC2 underscore SSH underscore key is
Mm-hmm.
equal to root server to London.
Yeah,
Yes. Now I am not using the region in which I'm using to deploy uh, the project is not in London.
okay,
I'm using US East 2, which is Ohio, because I have deleted the what's it called? The default VPC that was created in that region.
yeah.
So now, if I want to switch from London to Ohio, how will I rename this EC2 underscore SSH underscore key to the one that's going to be correct in Ohio and not London?
Okay, Mr. Folabi, you can this name here, this name root server to London. It can be anything. I get what I'm saying. You can name it anything.
Yes.
So the most important thing is wherever you name this SSH key here, and on the what's it called? On the AWS region also that you are deploying everything, which is in this case EUS 2. In your case, you said it was Ohio, right? The region
Yes.
where you are deploying everything, that key should be present there.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? So this
So,
okay, where's the name? Okay, so this key should automatically be present there. Are you getting what I'm saying?
yes.
Yeah. So that's the only thing you need to do and make changes to.
So I don't need to change the root server to London, Ohio. I
No,
should leave it as London.
you
Sorry,
can leave you
sorry, with
can
mentor. Sorry to cut you short, Mr. Folabi. That root server to London, you just your SSH key name. So whatever you name your SSH key, just put it there. Sorry, mentor, to cut you short. I think that's what you are trying to explain to him. It's just your SSH key name.
Okay,
Just,
so
yeah, it's just
the name I give my SSH key on AWS is what I should put
exactly,
here.
on that region you are deploying to.
Okay. Exactly. Now I get it. Now I get it. Now I get it. Okay. Now it's very clear now. So I will try and run it later tonight after the class.
yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mohammed.
Yes, guys, all confirmed.
Okay, Mr. Charles, you can unmute your mic, please. Oh,
Good evening, everyone.
yeah, good evening.
I just saw now that I have to because even after renaming the key on my own region, I just noticed now that I have to change the region in the Terraform.tf if I got that correctly. Yeah, I have to change the region. Like if I'm using US East One, because that's what I was using initially. I have to
Okay,
change it. I have to change it to US East One
yeah,
at
you, yeah,
Terraform.t. Yeah,
you need to make changes to this also. The
okay,
AWS
because
region.
that's the error I was getting, and I was wondering why. Thank you.
You're welcome. Mr. Adeni, please can unmute your mic.
Right. Oh, Chief, good evening, sir. How you doing? Yeah, yeah. Sorry, I want to add that an instance on AWS, should it be the same region that I want to deploy the project to? Should it be the same region,
No, it can be
or I can
anywhere.
use a different region
It can be
as
anywhere.
the version host?
It can be anywhere. In the video you watched on Telegram, it was on DigitalOcean. So you can
Yes, yes.
basically create it anywhere.
Okay. All right, no problem. Thanks, sir.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I actually use DigitalOcean for my own and it worked perfectly. So
Yeah, exactly. So is there any other questions so far? Okay, yeah, Mr. Abdullah, you can ask your question.
Okay, good evening all. Just want to ask, I I missed the last call, but I've watched it halfway. I've now run the installer.sh
Okay.
and I've tried the Terraform apply before. I want to ask what we'll be covering today.
Well, I'm going to be covering the Nginx
Okay,
and yeah, the whole Kubernetes section. So I don't know,
okay.
is there someone present here that has like a domain name or something like that? An active domain name?
Yes, yes, yes. I have a domain name.
Okay, so that would be needed in this area. So is there any other questions again, or that's all? So we can dive into talking about
Okay, I may miss the next 20 minutes. I'm about to pray, but no, I'll catch up.
okay, okay, no problem. So let's go to today's task. We have covered the EKS cluster, we've covered the installer.sh. Now we have also covered the microservice where I explained the cards and every other thing. Yeah. And yeah, you will basically be seeing the version depreciated notification that you'll be getting when you want to run this. This is still fine, right? It's just basically notifying you that you're going to get like a okay. Okay. It's just basically notifying you. And the one reason why I haven't changed this yet is because the one thing about coding, like they always say, if it is working, don't make changes to anything. I get what I'm saying. So making a change to this might basically require you to add some other variables and some other debugging because you are changing the version. So basically just use this for your capstone project. And if you want to look more into it later on, you can look for the latest version of Kubernetes on Terraform, and you can, yeah, make changes to it. So
Sorry,
that's
boss.
the
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, boss. Please continue short. Actually, on the version, I forgot to ask. I saw that AWS. I think you still use the 3.00 something. Is it okay if we use approximately 5.0 something?
AWS. What AWS is that?
I mean, in the EKS, I saw the HashiCorp AWS version you are using is still 3.00.
Okay, let's
And
see.
I think it's in versions, the
Okay,
very first
so
file.
this is the cluster version. Okay, so if you scroll to the very first file, we can see. Okay, so the required version is greater than or equals to 1.0. That means it should not give us anything that is less than 1.0.
No, I'm
So
talking of this HashiCorp, this AWS.
the AWS, this one.
Yes, where you have 3.0.
Okay, there is no 3.0 here.
He has commented it out now. Mentor
You
have commented it
commented
out.
it out.
Oh, this
You
place here.
commented it out actually.
Is it this place?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, it automatically just helps you. It chooses this required version, right? So you can uncomment this, but it's still basically the same thing.
All right, no problem.
Yeah. So we have looked at the microservice. Now we want to look into the Prometheus dash Helm. And if you open the Helm Prometheus the TF, we can see that okay, we're basically pulling. Okay, let's first look at the provider Prometheus.tf, and we look into the provider
Sorry, mentor.
Prometheus. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Uh, at the end of the microservice, when I run the microservice,
Yeah,
it's talking about a particular version. Though it didn't bring error, but it's just like a warning
yeah.
that
This is what I
the
talked about here too. Is the Kubernetes version we'll be getting a warning on that the version is already like depreciated, but it still works.
it works. It works.
Yeah.
Do we
So
need to care about that, or we should just move on?
no, no, you don't need to worry about it.
Okay.
So in Prometheus dash help, you can basically see that we are using the data resource in Terraform to pull the cluster name and the node group name. Yeah, and we are also using the time underscore sleep because we want to wait for Kubernetes to basically like get everything to get created. I get what I'm saying. So we're waiting for basically 20 seconds, and this depends on the data.aws EKS cluster.hr, which we specified in our provider section here, right? While waiting for this to be created, I get what I'm saying. So that's basically what's going on here. We're using the data to pull down the EKS cluster that we have, and we are basically waiting until it's created for 20 seconds. And before we start creating our namespace for Prometheus, right? And we start creating using Helm release. Helm is like a repository for Kubernetes. So we're using Helm to install Prometheus using the repository of the Helm chart repository and the chart and the namespace, which we specified here, which is Prometheus, with the version and yeah, the values file. If you watch the Telegram video, you should know what this values file does and how it basically affects our Prometheus deployment. So coming down here, you can see the provider.prometheus.tf. Here we have all the providers we need, the Helm, Kubernetes, kubectl, and we are basically pulling our cluster, telling Prometheus that this is the cluster or telling Kubernetes that this is all, Terraform that this is the cluster we want to basically deploy the Prometheus into. And you can see the required provider region, AWS is EWS2, the provider, in this case, we're using Helm because the reason why we used Helm here was because in the installing Prometheus we used Helm. So if Helm wasn't present there, it wouldn't work. So we're also using Helm here. We're also using Kubernetes. All we need is the config part, and we're also using kubectl. Yeah. So that's going to be all for the Prometheus dash Helm. And lastly, you can see the values of YAML. yeah, where you can make any changes that basically if you want to like make a change to affect the Prometheus, you can do that here. Um, so if you go to Nginx controller, basically the same thing too. I get what I'm saying. It's basically the same thing. We have the Helm. We're basically still waiting for the time, right? We're putting it on the sleep for 20 seconds, and we are creating the Kubernetes namespace Nginx Ingress. We're also using Helm release to basically install the Nginx Ingress. So what is Nginx Ingress? Nginx Ingress is just like a load balancer. I guess what I'm saying. But now the load balancer doesn't just like balance loads across different servers. It balances loads across ports. I get what I'm saying. And when it balances this load, it takes the load and it's actually you can use like an ingress rule to convert the load balancer into like a specific um, subdomain. I get what I'm saying. We'll be looking at that later in this video or later in this class. So if you scroll down, we can see the values file here also and other configurations that are going to be present here. And if you go to the null.tf here, we're basically using we're running the cube updates to basically update our region to for us to be able to connect to our AKS cluster. And we are creating our AWS Route 53 hosted zone. Yeah. And if you scroll down a little bit, you can see we're using the locals instance, the name A, name B, name D, name E, which in this case we have results Grafana voting app, which we do not need. I get what I'm saying. So we can basically remove this. Okay. Okay, so we can basically remove this, the results. We can now basically call our DMB to voting app because we won't need the voting app again. But Grafana, we might still need Grafana so we can be able to see our Grafana dashboard. So basically, yeah, this is it. And if you scroll down, you can see the C name, you can see every single thing that's needed. We are basically creating like a C record, yeah, with the AWS instance that was created. And if you scroll down, you can see we're also using the Amazon certificate manager to apply the SSL certificate to it. And yeah, this is basically the whole configuration for Amazon certificate manager. And this might take a lot of time before it can actually run the ACM, right? It can take a lot of time before it can actually run, but you just need to run it. And that's the reason why it's like the last thing that is on the Jenkins pipeline. This is the last directory on the Jenkins pipeline. So you basically don't just like run the ACM and you're still there, right? So if you go to the providers-nginx.tf, you can see the providers file, which is basically similar to every other one. Yeah, so there's no difference here. And if you go to the values.yaml, you can see the values.yaml page that basically changes the configuration or how Nginx Ingress acts. And if you go to our Ingress rule, which is the one of the most important places, because if you don't get this place right, you will basically get like an error or an issue while you are trying to access your website. So if you come over here, we can see that the namespace that we're using here is sock shop. I get what I'm saying. And the labels front end, the annotation is Nginx. And now look at the host. This is the most important place. The host. Yeah. Your domain name should, if your domain name is wonclo.live, this is why the reason it is still here. If your domain name is something else, it will still have to be here. Are you getting what I'm saying? So whatever your domain name is, this is where you're going to put it. Are you getting what I'm saying? So if you look at the sock shop is just the subdomain that's going to be here. Do you get me? It's the subdomain that's going to be here. You can make a change to it if you want to. I get what I'm saying. But if you're making a change to this subdomain, you need to come back to the nginx controller and you need to come to the nginx.tf file and you scroll down to where you have Route 53 and you make a name to this name here, to the sock shop here. So whatever name you want to make, you change it here and you change it over there. I get what I'm saying. So when we go back to our microservice, you can see the sock shop.onecloud.live, and the service we're basically targeting is the front end, right? The front end in the sock shop application is the service that basically holds, right? It's the service or the platform where you can see every single thing. You can see the catalog, you can see the shipping, you can see the database, you can see every single thing from the front end, right? This is where everything is connected to. Yeah, and it is open on port 80. It's open on port 80. I get what I'm saying. So you don't need to make a change to this front end because that's the default name. So all this thing here, the only thing you need to make a change to is the sock shop. Yeah, if you are making a change to the sock shop, and you need to make a change to this domain name that is here. So with that said, we can go to the prom.tf. Now, what does this prom.tf do? So initially, you running this, you get like an error, but there will need to be a change to the service name, which is the only issue you are going to have. The service name is the only issue you're going to have. Why? Because the service that is currently on the Grafana, there are different kind of services that are on Prometheus Grafana. There's the Grafana, there's the Prometheus, and you might get like some issues. I get what I'm saying when you run this. So that's the reason why we have to check it, so we can actually put the right service here, so we can get the what's it called, the right we can be able to access our Grafana dashboard. So with that said, and one thing you should note is this, or one thing you should notice is this: in the namespace section, you should know that every single ingress rule we're creating is being created in the namespace where the service is. I get what I'm saying. So if you check this namespace, this is the Prometheus namespace, right? And it's created in the Prometheus namespace where Prometheus is created, right? Because that's where we can only access the service Prometheus Grafana. If we do not put it in this namespace, you definitely get an error. So with that said, you know what works and you know what you should not do. So also when we come to the provider file, also the default like every other one. Yeah, so basically that's going to be all for the Kubernetes section. So the Jenkins is explains itself. There is really nothing like too much in the Jenkins file. So if you check the Jenkins file, you can see the agent any, you can see the environment, you can see AWS access key ID. This is where we state our access key and we state our secret access key. Although we're not going to be running the Jenkins today, yeah, but let me explain the file. So in our next class, we'll just use Jenkins to run everything. So we can see the pipeline, you can see the agents, you can see the environment, which we have our AWS access key ID, our secret access key, and our region stated here. And we also have parameters, right? If you watch the video on Telegram, you should know how these parameters work. And if you scroll down, you see our create Prometheus, which is the first stage, and we have the directory of the Kubernetes slash Prometheus dash helm. And for those of you that like to change, you every small thing you change something, make sure you pay attention to this Prometheus dash helm, right? If you come over here to the Kubernetes section, you can see that the name of this directory is Kubernetes, and the directory is specified here. This dir stands for directory, and the directory is specified here as Kubernetes slash Prometheus dash helm. And if you come down here, you can see a directory again that's named Prometheus slash helm. So if you're making a change to any directory here, always refer back to the Jenkins file and make sure you make a change to the directory where it's going to be running every single day. So coming back here, you can see the sh AWS EKS dash dash region, the AUS2. This is the default code you need to use to log into the what's called log into your AWS EKS cluster, right? And you can see the name. So if you do not know the name of your EKS when it's created, or when you change the name of the EKS being created, you need to go over to AWS to pick out the what's it called, the EKS when you have created it, and copy that name and paste it here. So this is the name of the EKS. This is the region. If you change your region, make sure you make a change to this, and yeah, you run it. So the first command it runs for us is the command that helps us log into our EKS cluster. The second command is the Terraform init. The third command is the Terraform apply dash auto approve. When this is done running, it goes over to the microservice. It does a Terraform init and the Terraform applied for us with the dash auto approve. And the reason why there's a dash auto approve here is because of we're basically running it in a non-interactive way. We don't want to interact with the script, or yeah, we don't want to interact with the script while it's running. I get what I'm saying. That's why we're using the dash auto dash approve, because if you don't use that, then your Jenkins is going to hang, because it will be waiting for you to impute yes, so that it can be able to create all this. So that's why we're using the dash auto dash approve. And if you scroll down again, you can see the ingress rule. We're also creating the ingress rule, and lastly, we're creating the Nginx controller. Yeah, which is the last thing. And now you can now see other parameters for destroying, Terraform destroy dash auto approve, Terraform destroy that same thing we're running in every single directory where we want to destroy it. So now for the EKS cluster, it's basically the same thing. The same environment variables, the same parameters, and we have the Terraform init, Terraform apply dash auto approve, and Terraform destroy for the EKS cluster, and it's also directed to the EKS directory. So if you're also making a change to the EKS directory name, you need to come over here to make a change to this. So do you guys have any? Okay, yeah, Mr. Abela, you can unmute your mic, please.
Yeah, just a quick one. The destroy the Terraform destroy the stages for that. Why are we doing that? Is it just because we are done and we don't want to incur cost, or it's part of the process to have the service running as well?
Okay, so let's say it's necessary you understand that when you are using like an automation to create something, it's best to use the automation to delete it. I get what I'm saying. So that's exactly the
Okay.
same reason why we're using Jenkins to delete our what's it called everything we created. Because if you just go straight to deleting the EKS cluster, you will get bunch of errors. I get what I'm saying, a lot. So you have to first delete all the what's it called, all the whole services that are running on the EKS cluster first before you delete the EKS cluster. And you going by yourself one by one into all these directories will basically take a lot of time, right? If you are basically working in like a very large company that is running like different kind of services and different kind of things, and you're logging it through and you're doing it manually, you basically like waste a lot of time. So it's better for you to just use like an automation system. So hope I answered the question.
Yes, partly. I think my question is, if this were a live system we're setting up, we won't be destroying, right? I think that's my point.
A live
If
system.
this was if we're setting up shop, so to say, we won't be running Terraform destroy in this case because we want it to be, or I don't know. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, the Terraform destroy is a choice. You get what I'm saying? So if the
Mm,
company you're working in decides to say, okay, you know what, we want to shut down everything. I get what I'm saying. You
okay.
can
Mm,
easily just do that using the parameter.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Fine. Yeah.
So it's not like as if it's like automatically running Terraform destroy after it runs Terraform apply. I get what I'm saying.
Uh-huh.
It's a
Yeah. Yeah.
choice.
Exactly.
You're
Okay.
the one that will
Okay.
choose it
Okay.
on Jenkins. That, okay, I want to destroy this thing now, and you apply it.
All
So that's
right.
how it works.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Thanks.
you're welcome. So yeah, Mr. Adedeji, you can please unmute your mic.
You've done justice to my question. My question was, I was about to ask is, how long will it take? I thought the Jenkins will automatically destroy
No,
the services itself. So I
mm-mm.
wanted to ask, how long will it take to destroy it? But now we are the one that will still impute the uh, code to destroy. So we can have enough time to take snapshot and all that before we destroy.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome. So at this point, I will stop sharing my screen, and you will need a very good Samaritan to share a screen that has a domain name, because the build that will come from generating an EKS cluster, I don't think I have the. So yeah, someone said they wanted to share screen before. That is Mr. Adini. Are you still available? Mr. Adini, don't jump. Sorry, who is available to share screen so we can basically do the practical of all this? And you must have like a domain name, please.
On fire, you can see my screen.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Okay. Sorry, my network is a little bit slow at this time. So for this instance, I would naming the Terraform we need this the first thing.
So,
On the name for the instance, I would naming it Terraform.
you can name whatever. Terraform, anything you want to name it. Okay, you're creating a VPC web.
Yes, but the other ones I destroy them.
Oh, okay. Okay, it seems that we have about 15 minutes. Mr. Jilly, you have open
So
your domain name. Let me see your domain provider. Let me see.
domain, can you say this is the domain name?
Okay.
This is my account.
Okay. Okay. Is there? Try to see if you can see a place where you say manage domains or manage name server.
Mano.
Manage domains, or manage name servers.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, we are.
Okay. Okay. So okay, give me a minute, please.
The what?
Give me a minute.
Okay. All right.
Okay, Mr. Dilly, you can stop sharing your script. What will happen
Okay.
is, on Friday, we will basically just run everything using Jenkins. The whole process is very simple, like I explained. When you are done creating your, what's it called? When you are done creating everything, your Route 53, yeah, you go over to your Route 53 section, to the hosted zones, and you basically copy out the name server that are there. You go to your domain provider, locate where you see name servers, and you paste the name servers there. If you have any questions, you can please ask a question right now. While running it, if you want to see any error, just let me know.
Okay. Mentor, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
On this particular one, so we're still going to start afresh by creating VPC, subnet, and all that.
Mm, since you said you don't have like a default, for those that have default VPC, you don't need to create a new VPC again. But since you don't have a default VPC, we should create a new VPC with the subnet. Yeah, then you can now create your instance and you create a public security group. Then on that instance is where you run the installer.sh. I get what I'm saying. Just like we did in the previous video on how to create the ETS cluster. So the same thing we are going to do here again. And after running it, you basically go into the EKS section, run the EKS cluster, run the command that helps you connect to the EKS cluster, and yeah, you basically now start going into every directory, which is the Prometheus, the Nginx Ingress, and the what's it called, the last one, and you run it. You do Terraform init, Terraform apply, and yeah,
Okay.
yeah, please you can unmute me.
What I want to say is that at least what you are trying to tell us now is that after the last class that we did, the process where the sub shop has been after that kubectl
Yeah,
SVC stuff,
yeah.
that particular place. Now the next step now is it the Jenkins file?
No, 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 no. The next step is the Prometheus. You go into the Prometheus and do exactly the same thing you did in the sock shop. You go into the
Okay,
Ingress and do exactly the same thing you did in sock shop. Then the
okay,
last directory you should run should be the Nginx Ingress.
okay, okay, okay.
Yeah,
Just by applying the Terraform file there.
just apply. That's what you need to do. Terraform init, Terraform apply. Come out from the directory, go into another one. Terraform init, Terraform apply. That's what you need to do.
Okay, but this one now, but are you still going to do it like do a video for us like that?
Yeah, yeah. Friday we're going to use Jenkins to run everything. So it's
Eh,
going to
no,
be
no, no. That's part before you go into Jenkins. Probably since you've explained it now plainly. If you want to do it now, I understand that you have to start all over from the
yeah.
beginning, and I know that part can take time. So I don't know how you will do it for us because some of us we are still amateur now, so that we won't just the time is coming very very near. Yeah, I beg.
Okay, so the one thing now is this. Um, we can do it now, but someone has to create like a what's it called? An AWS user on
Okay.
AWS. So yeah.
Like, what about the
Now, what
one you
about
were
the one
using
you
before?
is that?
The one you were
The
using
one you were
before.
using before? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
There's already like
there's already
what's it
like
called
what's it
deployed
called
on it.
deployed on it.
There's something deployed on it.
There's
So
something deployed on it.
you have
So
to either
you
retrace
have to
classes,
either
you want to
retrieve
have to
classes, you
upgrade
want to have
the
to
what's it
create
called
like
the new AWS.
the new AWS.
Uh,
Uh,
Okay, mentor. Sorry, I was away.
Yeah.
So what's
yeah.
what are we like? What are we doing now?
Well, it was
Well, it was
Mr. Femi was asking if
Mr. Femi was asking if
you can run it now.
you can run it now.
So honestly,
So honestly,
you don't actually need to
you don't
run it
actually need to
manually,
run it manually,
right? All this manual
right? All these
update,
stuff,
you don't need to do that.
you don't need to do that.
The only thing that
The only
matters
thing
is
that
the
matters
automation
is
works.
the commission works.
The only reason we're running it manually
The only reason why I run it manually
is because of we want to see if it is going to work, and everything works already. So you can go to Jenkins to deploy everything. But since you guys still want us to do this night, yeah, so we can.
no, me, I'm just saying my own. No, I'm not the only one in this class. Hold on. I'm not the only one in this class. So it depends on everyone else. Next class
Next
should be
class
on
should be
Thursday,
on
right?
Thursday, right?
Yeah, yeah.
can
Next
go
class
ahead.
should be Thursday, but
Yes,
that should be
yes, we
the
That
can.
should
class
be the that.
concerning the
Yes,
capstone.
we can try it. Can just give it a try. Mm. So are we creating another link? Or what are we doing now? Should we just end it like that because the class will end in 1 minute?
I think we should just do
I think
another
we
thing
should
in
just
the
do
next
anything.
class.
You said?
I think we should
I
just
think we
continue
should
in
just
the next
continue in the
class.
next class.
Okay.
Okay, so
Okay, so
Mr. Femi, if you have any
Mr. Femi,
question, you can just reach out to me. Personally. Yeah.
Okay, next class. Next class is better. Next class is better.
Okay. Okay.